And look how simple the eye and the lines here, the perfect balance. You could be working in the painting like that for months, just creating one image. Now, throughout his life, Tamayo sustains his interest in the ancient art of Mexico. Y en Oaxaca, cuando hace su museo, because it's finally a museum, it's a museum dedicado a el arte prehispánico. He does this museum in Oaxaca, in which he paints the pre-Hispanic art. Not he doesn't paint, he collects, he shares it. And the wonderful thing of Tamayo's museum es que las obras de arte, las obras prehispánicas que nos muestran, are not shown in a chronological order. They're displayed as you would display a work of art. He's not showing you an example of the Mayan culture and the Aztec culture and the Zapotec culture. No. He's showing them to you exactly in the same way that you would curate an exhibit of contemporary art. Here you see some of the masterpieces of Tamayo's collection. La colección de Tamayo muestra el arte prehispánico como arte. Here you have an example of his museum. He does some sculptures. I remember once Alex Islato, and by the way, there's two events that I'm looking very excited about. One is the Maracas concert that I strongly recommend. The other is the auction that Alex Islato puts together, and he brought some of these sculptures. Notice, again, that everything is solved basically with two colors, red and black, and a little bit of white. There's this figure with some figures that look like birds. Don't know really what it is, but it is a presence that is extremely powerful. Perhaps the greatest tribute to pre-Hispanic art that Tamayo does is in the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico. And I have my friend Ms. Hammer that is doing a book precisely on the contemporary art of the Museum of Anthropology. And this mural, enter mural please, is called Duality. It was painted in 1964. And it is a symbol of the Museum of Anthropology. And you have, again, the image of the serpent, of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, at day, and the symbol of Tezcatlipoca, which is the jaguar, at night. You have the moon and the stars, and you have the sun, and you have the radiant day and the starry night. When I look at a mural like this, honestly, it could have been painted yesterday or 2,000 years ago. In other words, this idea of reviving the Indian aesthetic, of finding what were those contributions and how you can put them in dialogue with the art of today, is completely achieved by Tamayo. In an image that is so simple, but it's impossible to copy. Tamayo, I must add, worked completely alone. Never had any assistance. Nobody has really understood how he created these textures. He's one of the most difficult artists to falsify, because not only the lines are unique, but also the textures, the colors, the environments that he creates. Isn't it lovely here? Exit mural, please. And Tamayo and Olga never have children, so all their money, they leave it to, they create a house for seniors. And then the Museum Tamayo in Mexico City is dedicated not to Tamayos. People are very disappointed when they go there because there's hardly any Tamayos. What Tamayo wanted was to find a house for the contemporary art that he had collected throughout the world. A lovely museum. And again, you know, it's not a monument to his ego, but it is also a vehicle in which he can open Mexico to the world. Tamayo becomes the most successful living artist of Mexico. His paintings are shown everywhere in the most important European museums, in Asian, in Tokyo, in the Hermitage. And in spite of his fame and his wealth, Tamayo always gives opportunity to other young artists. Francisco Toledo, perhaps Mexico's greatest living artist, would remember how when he was a struggling young man, Tamayo, that had never sold a painting for himself because everything was done by Olga, when he sees Toledo, trata de venderle los cuadros a Toledo. He tries to become a dealer to help this young man. Tamayo, the man that would never talk about money, he always has time to come to younger men and women artists. He's a very good friend of Octavio Paz, who writes extensively about his work. And you can see the books on him. He becomes the most celebrated Mexican artist, the highest priced Mexican artist. Now, Frida's work is probably more expensive than his, but as in his life, Tamayo becomes clearly the dominant figure in Mexican art. Now, Tamayo did not talk too much about doing art for the people. He was very quiet. And yet, I think that if there is any great Mexican artist that has really done art for the people, it's Tamayo. Because in addition to his oils and his murals, Tamayo is a fabulous graphic artist. He does not only lithographs and serigraphs, but with the Rembas that live in LA, you know, Lea Remba, Luis Remba, he develops a technique that is called mixography.